Do it. All right, we're back. And so as we were just talking about those high flying Detroit Lions, they continue to put up massive numbers at home. Like again, last week I think I said it was like 63 points a game. Obviously last week when winning 40 to 14 or whatever it was. Um came out under that number a little bit, but that wasn't their fault. That was because, Jags didn't hold up their end of the bargain. Now, this game is very interesting because it opened at Lions. It opened at I'm sorry. It opened at the Vikings -1.5, and then it has moved all the way to Lions -2.5, and now it's back down to Lions -1.5. Now the two Minnesota Vikings on the road against the 4-7 or whatever.
5-7.
5-7. I'm sorry, 12 games. That makes a lot of sense. 5-7 Detroit Lions are underdogs. Another one of these Vegas probably knows more than we do type of spots where it's just like how is the team with 5 less wins favored?
Yep. And logic tells you take the Vikings and run with it easily. But if you watch the Vikings play, they don't blow anyone out. Other than they don't blow anyone out, right? And also, I'm just talking based off last week. I haven't watched the Vikings in depth, but if you watch their offense play, Kirk Cousins not very good. Yes, he's going up against a good Jet defense, but
Yes.
he just didn't look good last week.
He did not. He looked rattled. The word I would use is rattled and shaken. Their offensive line, especially with Christian Darrisaw, right? Being out, I believe he was out last week, and he was out in the middle of the game a couple of weeks ago against the Cowboys. It seems that Kirk Cousins has just been hit a lot, and he has been hit a lot, and it makes him more uncomfortable in the pocket, and he's been more susceptible to that those weird bad throws, overthrowing T.J. Hawkinson, throwing the ball a little bit behind Justin Jefferson. But I mean, here's the problem in this game: Aiden Hutchinson is a stud. Him and a couple other guys that I don't know their names, but some havoc in the backfield for a lot of teams. And that's, I mean, they did it last week against Lawrence. They did it a couple of weeks ago, even Josh Allen. I mean, they created a couple of turnovers. I mean, Josh Allen's been turning the ball over against everybody, but as we'll get to next, I think. But it's just that he's just been shaken up. That's what I feel.
And listen, I don't think the Lions are going to put up 40 on the Vikings just based off how the Vikings play. They play slow, they play methodical, they burn the clock out. They have long, exactly. They have long 7 or 8 minute drives where they get 11 yards every single time, and it's tough to watch. Just going off personal experience last week, watching the slow, methodical drives in the first half. Not so much in the second half, but the first half for sure. So just based off that, I think it's going to be a game in the 20s. I don't think either team is going to go away with it either way. I think it's going to be a good game. I do think I do think the Vikings are going to pull it out just based off what they've been doing all year. And that's my take on it. But I think the Lions could pull it out too. I think it could go either way.
Right. Fantasy question on this game: Kirk Cousins or Jared Goff as a streamer?
Jared Goff easily. Just because if you think about what they have to do for their teams to win, I think Jared Goff has to do more for his team than Kirk Cousins has to do for his team. Meaning that Cook could take over, and I hope he does take over as a fantasy owner. I just don't know. I just don't know if the others for the Lions could. And let me ask you another question. What tandem do you think is better? Cousins Jefferson, Goff Amon Ra. Sounds crazy to ask, but
Um, it's a weird one because the best player in that is obviously Justin Jefferson,
Yeah, yeah,
but the two together, I mean, Amon Ra has been so good. Like
yeah.
that is, I will say every single week, that is the biggest miss on my part of like fantasy this year. That I was just like, I just did not think he was going to be that good. Luckily, even though I didn't think he was going to be that good, I had him on a couple of best ball teams. But, um, like, I don't know. That's a tough question. I would probably have to take Kirk and
Yeah.
Jefferson, but like that's a very interesting one.
And yeah, and the fact that we're even thinking about it, it just shows how good Amon Ra is.
Right,
He is.
exactly. That's that you're 100% right on that. And the only other players that I mean, you can play Swift and Jamal Williams, I believe. I mean, Jamal Williams, like I was saying last week, he just sniffs the end zone every single week. It's insane the
He
streak that he's on.
he's literally the Connor of last year. That's what he
Yeah,
is.
absolutely. Although he doesn't catch the ball out of the backfield as much as Connor does.
That's fair. That's
100%
fair.
understand what you're saying, touchdown wise. I That's a fantastic comp. And those are the only two. I am not messing around with a DJ Shark or a Reynolds or anything like that. But on the other side, I mean, Thielen's my wide receiver three on one of my squads. Just I wish I had a different option, but I don't. Um, and so I think he's definitely viable in a big spot like this. Dalvin Cook, obviously, and TJ Hawkinson in the revenge
Yeah.
narrative, you know?
I was about to say, you got to think they're going to try to get in the ball a lot more, obviously, going up against his old team. And I could see 5 to 7 catches, 70 yards, put in a touchdown here and there.
I definitely hear that, man. And then, yeah, that seems about it. I'm actually gonna go with the Lions. Um,
Interesting, interesting.
go with the
I
Lions at home. It's just the line's too fishy. It's too fishy for me. I wouldn't
I,
touch this game with a 10-foot pole. But
I would not touch this game either, and I can't fault you for taking the Lions. I'm just going to take the Vikings just based off the fact that they pull out every game close.
no, 100.
Um,
percent They know how to. But here's the thing: the Lions have weirdly found a way to win, also. But like
yep.
other ways, also they found ways to lose. So I definitely like. I think the Lions win, but trust me, I'm not going to be shocked when the Vikings do.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you.
Um. So yeah. Anyone else in that game? Really? I don't think so. That we didn't touch on. Yeah, not
I think.
really. Okay, well, here we go. Us Jet fans getting to talk about our Jets. Plus 10 at the Buffalo Bills. Weather might be a factor in this game. I believe it's supposed to be a little bit less than 40 degrees. Might be snow, some slush, rain type. The last time I looked at the weather for Buffalo, yes, I am insane. I look at these types of things because of A, fantasy, and B, I want the Jets to win so badly.
I'm right there with you. I know the weather report. 45 and a bit of rain.
Exactly, bro. It's yeah. I looked a couple of days ago, so I guess it changed. Um, but yeah, I mean Garrett Wilson's it, bro. We've got our wide receiver one, and it is
Hell yeah.
beautiful.
He and going back to last week, freaking Mike White just missing him for the game
Oh,
leading touchdown killed me. But no, he's fantastic. Gets open, great target for Mike White, and him and Mike White have just been on the same page since Mike White took over, and it's amazing to see.
absolutely. And also he's so shifty. He's shifty, he's tough, he's he's explosive, like he's everything. He has great hands. He's everything you want in a wide receiver. And he's big. He like he's literally everything you want out of a guy that you're putting your offensive firepower on. And
And, and I think Mike White is the perfect quarterback for him because he puts the
mhm,
ball where it needs to be, and then he
right,
lets him do work. You know, he's not. having to like struggle for catches. He gets the ball and then goes to work.
Right. I mean, he almost got him killed one,
Yeah.
but for the most part, I definitely agree with you there. Um, now here's where it gets a little bit hairy. We'll talk about the Jets side of this first. First of all, we're both taking them +10, obviously. That's not even a question. But Zonovan Knight, is Michael Carter coming back? He practiced obviously the last 2 days, yesterday and today, Thursday. Bam has more juice right now, and I think
He
that
does.
you're gonna have to give him the most carries. I mean, James Robinson, you might see on like short yardage. They still like having Ty Johnson out there, especially
I
with White.
I like Ty Johnson over James Robinson. I think he could definitely catch the ball better, and I think he's better in the run game. James Robinson, let's be honest, has been awful. He's been horrendous.
Yeah,
He can't do anything.
I really like
Zonovan looked Zonovan looked amazing, really good last week. He broke off a couple big runs. I will say though, in between the tackles, not great. Um,
no, he needs to get outside. He needs to get outside for sure.
I think when you're on the 2 yard line, you put Ty Johnson in there, let him try to run it in, as opposed to Zonovan Knight. He's a bigger back. Even James Robinson maybe. But no, I think
I would
he's
put James Robinson. That was his specialty last year as
yeah.
a Jaguar and 2 years ago as a Jaguar.
Yeah, so that was a little confusing. I don't want to relitigate last week. Braxton
Yeah,
Berrios,
no,
whatever,
I got you.
whatever, whatever. No big deal. But no, but what the Jets need to do this week in order to win is they cannot start the way that they did last week. You cannot get down big to a good team and expect to win.
So here's the funny on the road. On the road, because if you remember correctly, they were down to the Buffalo Bills 17-3, I think.
Yep, yep.
Um, and then
They
one,
came back.
but you can't do that on the road, not in a place like Buffalo, not in the elements where you're gonna have to push if you're trying to push the ball down the field, you might not get the same ball that you really wanted to throw because it might do something weird in the middle of the air. Um, and yeah, no, if they're gonna try and win, they can't get down. They have to start off fast. Definitely have to continue to tackle well. That's where we get to the Bills side of things. Now,
But
I don't,
wait, just one more thing on the
yeah,
Jets.
sure.
Huge loss today. Max Mitchell.
Yes. With the blood clots, unfortunately, hopefully he gets
Yeah,
better. And yeah, that's pretty rough, especially because we were actually starting to get some consistency from the offensive line. No,
exactly.
another injury on it. Definitely tough, but you live it, you next man up. You gotta
Exactly.
continue to, and that's what they've been. I mean, they've been doing a good job of relative to what happened last year when they had offensive line troubles. Like they've stepped up. Everybody's stepped up, and
Yep.
they're going to continue to have to do that for sure. Now here's where it's funny because you're obviously starting Stephon Diggs, and in a week where there's 6 buys, I think Gabe Davis is more of a flex consideration as opposed to a wide receiver too, because DJ Reed and Sauce are awesome. Um, they are the best cornerback tandem in the league. I think we can say that, like, as obviously as what's it called? A little bit being a little bit biased, but at the same time, like you can objectively say that they are the best. If not, they're in the top 3
Yeah.
easily.
Easily. Yeah, I'm with you on that. And obviously, weather will be a factor. And the Jets have two great corners that could both guard Diggs, but Diggs is still going to get his numbers. He's still going to get a bunch of catches. I remember in the first game, first drive, beat Sauce deep. Hopefully, that's not going to happen again. But
Absolutely. Sauce got his legs, he got his legs locked.
yeah, I don't know. I'm confident in a Jet W just based off.
Of course. Just one last thing on the Bills. Josh Allen is gonna run. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm most afraid. In this type of game, he's going to use his legs. Now, obviously, that's what he did in the last game, which was how the Bills got off to the big lead and the fast start. But I think that they're gonna do it more in the second half, which is what they got away from in the last game, and is why the Jets had more of a chance to get back in that game and eventually win it. I think that's where the adjustment's going to come from Sean McDermott. He's a very smart coach. I think that Ken Dorsey is going to draw up some nice design runs for him, and the Jets are gonna have to spy. Now, can C.J. Mosley's Jermaine Johnson,
Quincy Williams,
Quinton Williams, can all those guys be able to chase him down? Which this game, Jermaine Johnson was able to do it.
Yeah.
On a big third down. You know, you got to be able to keep up with Josh Allen.
Is Singletary a play?
So the Jets have given it up on the ground. They have.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook had his best game in like a month last week.
Yep.
Ramondre obviously had a very good game against them both games. And then I don't remember if they did anything against. I don't think they really did much against them the first time around. As far as running the ball, I mean, yeah, they didn't do anything really. What's his name? Cook and Singletary
Hines.
and
Hines too.
Combined for only 11 points against them. So I don't think that they're gonna have really that great of a game. So I would probably stay away from them if you could. Obviously, again, 6 teams on bye, you might have to start one of them. But yeah, absolutely. Jets W, baby.
Of course, the Jets W. They're gonna win going away. No, I'm kidding. No, it's gonna be listen. I think that 10-point line is a little disrespectful to how good the Jets have been all year. Their defense has been phenomenal, and I think that people are underrating Mike White. I think Mike White had a fantastic game last week. He had the pick early, not his fault, on a deflection, and then he tried to force it in 4th and 10 last on the last drive. But he's been good. He's moved the ball. He's done exactly what they need him to do in order to win. But they gotta start well. You cannot get down early, especially in Buffalo. So we'll see. 100%. And listen, I don't want to say it's a must win because you do have a couple of easier games coming up after that, but it's a game you want to
10 wins. It's much more of a must win than we think.
Exactly.
Okay, let's get to a gross game. Relevant fantasy players. Jimmy G got hurt, and I'll tell you, I'll say Jimmy G out for like 7 to 8 weeks. Although Kyle Shanahan basically said that it would be an outside chance, not likely that he would be able to play during the playoffs. Like the Kyle Shanahan, very confident in his group that they're gonna get to the playoffs. They are, but we like to see that pretty much from your coach. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who stink on offense, against the San Francisco 49ers on the road in San Francisco. Over under in this game is a disgusting 37.5.
Oh my God.
That is yuck city.
I take the over easily in that.
Brock Purdy did what he needed to do in relief of Jimmy G.
He looked good. He looked good.
Do you see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against this 49ers defense putting up whatever their team implied total is, probably 16 points? I mean, I can't.
Neither do I. I see them putting up like 10, and I could see the Niners putting up big points. Because you see, like, Brock Purdy is
16.5.
6, that's what it is. I see the Bucs probably putting up like 10 points, and then I think the Niners will cover that spread by putting up big number. I don't like the Buccaneers defense, and I think the Niners have way too many options that even for Brock Purdy, they're still going to put up points. You get the ball in the counter zone.
What did you say?
No, yeah, what you're about to say. You just have to get the ball in their hands. And that's
yes. Exactly. Get the ball in their hands, give them some space, and let them go to work. Debo, Ayuk, Ayuk, CMC, Kittle, all of them are viable, even though this game is disgusting. Um, because I mean, what if you just give them the ball in space, they're gonna. You said it right. Tampa Bay defense is not what it was last year, and it's definitely gonna be a more of a grinded out type of game. And I would take Niners minus 3.5. Mike Evans is a bench if I could. Mike Evans is a bench. Like if you can, he just hasn't done it, and you really thought that he would, especially against the Saints without Marshawn Lattimore, and he just didn't. Like he got a couple of points, he didn't have
Yeah.
a touchdown, which I mean his entire career has been dependent on touchdowns, and he didn't have any. Like Brady keeps missing him on these deep routes. Why is that going to change against a top two defense in the NFL? That's
It's a tough one because whoever all those Mike Evans owners out there, you don't want to start him, but there's no way you're not because he has the ability to just go off for you.
absolutely. But if I have a more stable option, like if I have Brandon Ayuk against them, I probably start Brandon Ayuk. I don't have
That's fair.
I don't have that that decision per se, but I mean Brock Purdy with Brandon Ayuk, that's where it becomes a little bit of a debate. But like,
Yeah.
it's just not what you want to see as far as what him like. Evans is just hurting your fantasy team.
Yeah. But there is a scenario where the Bucks get down big early and
Right.
Niners drop back a bit, and Evans has a bunch of catches, 8, 9 catches in garbage time, puts
Okay.
up 70 yards. So
That's
that
not
that
something
that's
I'm
all.
banking on though. That's the
That's
problem. I
fair.
don't want to bank on that. Chris Godwin though, always fire him up. He's awesome. I hate Leonard Fournette. Like I think you still have to play him. In spots, especially in a 6 bye week. But I would prefer to start Rashad White. Um, but it's like it's a weird backfield also. If it wasn't 6 buys, I probably would try and find different options completely. But
How
yeah,
about Auden? You start Auden?
nah. I again 16.5 team implied total. I don't think he's like you're betting on a touchdown.
Yeah.
He's in that middle, he's in that lower tight end one conversation. If you want to, go ahead. If not, like I wouldn't be banking on it for sure.
I hear
Let's move to a much more fun game.
you.
The Sunday night game is definitely the game of the week. Miami Dolphins at the Los Angeles Chargers. Big AFC matchup, big implications in the AFC playoff picture. But there's a little bit of injury concern in this game also. Tua with the I think it's the foot. I don't remember. And then Waddle also with the lower body injury, I believe. Um,
Yep.
why I can't remember, I don't know. But we're gonna go with those two are lower body injuries. And then Mike Williams coming back with the high ankle sprain. Um, if I could try to not start Mike Williams in this game, I would because he got hurt on the first game back from the high ankle sprain last time on the first target he had. So I mean Joshua Palmer is definitely like if I had those two guys, I would play Joshua Palmer,
Palmer.
Mike Williams, obviously Keenan Allen, and then yeah, the Dolphins on the road are -3. This is gonna be a fun game. Like this is gonna
It's
be a fun game.
I think it'll be a shootout. As you said, playoff implications. This is going to have a playoff atmosphere to it. Both teams
Yeah,
are
a ton
good.
of Dolphins fans.
Ton of Dolphins fans there, 100%. The Chargers, they just confuse me so much because
They're,
they have such a good offense, but they just don't play well. There's some games where it just doesn't click. Maybe it's because of all the injuries and they didn't have time to get that chemistry down. But you're pretty much as healthy as you're going to be now. You got to show out.
When do we start putting it a little bit on Justin Herbert?
I think we should already. I think that should have happened weeks ago because this team should not be where they are. This team should be competing with the
100%.
Chiefs for that division. They have a solid defense, and their offense should be a
That's
lot
where
better.
I disagree. I don't mean to cut you off on that, but their defense is spotty. Their defense is very spotty. They stink against the run, which is why I think Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert can both, especially in especially in a 16 week bye. Wow, that was a tongue twister. I just messed that up. It's bye week, whatever. 16 bye week, whatever. You could start both of them because
Yeah.
the Chargers run defense is I believe, yeah. I mean, they've been better of late, but over the course of the season, they are I think they're bottom 3 in the NFL. Let's just look at that. Yeah, they're fourth worst in the NFL. Like that's where you could probably give Justin Herbert a little bit of a reprieve and like be like, oh, maybe not, whatever. But like you definitely have to start putting it more on his shoulders because he was the amazing rookie year. Oh, we have to compare. Everyone has to be now compared to Justin Herbert or whatever. And he's great. Don't get me wrong. We all love Justin Herbert, but teams should be better because of him.
Yeah, and you could put a lot of it on Staley too, who I think is a horrendous coach. Um, I think you put an experienced coach with Justin Herbert in that team, they're they're a winning team. I think they make the playoffs easily every year. The fact that they didn't make the playoffs last year is a joke.
Yeah,
Brandon Staley is a joke of a coach. He's just a joke of a coach.
honestly, you're the first person I've heard that from, and I like it. Um,
It,
I liked him earlier on, but at this point, it's trending in that direction where you're 100% right.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think that obviously injuries, as you mentioned, are going to play a factor in it. I see the Dolphins pulling this one out just based off the fact the Chargers haven't shown us anything all year
Yep.
to allude to the fact that they would beat a good Dolphins team. And listen, the Dolphins, they stunk it up last week against the 49ers. They choked late. They couldn't beat a backup quarterback.
Yep.
Um, they gave up, listen, Brock Purdy threw for 230 and 2 touchdowns.
Their defense,
So,
the Dolphins' defense isn't good, which is why I do think this is going to be a shootout as well.
yeah.
Everything wants me to take everything that I have wants me to take the Chargers. By the way, start your Tyreek Hill. Waddle plays, you start him.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, always in. Gerald Everett, he's in the better half of that tight ends. All right. We got all the fantasy stuff out of the way. Anyway, everything I want is to say that the Chargers are going to win this game. But just watching each team actually play, watching the Chargers defense struggle at times against lesser competition and against especially against better competition. I just think that I think this actually comes down to the wire and that Tua ends up showing us that he can win the game late and ends up getting a game-winning drive, game-winning touchdown, and they win it late. I'll take the Dolphins -3 as well.
I'm with you. And one more thing, just as a Jet fan, who are we rooting for?
Yeah, this is
Chargers are
tough.
right. It's
I
tough,
think
right?
I am rooting for the Chargers because I don't like the Dolphins. Like better,
Fair.
yeah, better idea. We try and win early, and we'll make our decision.
I'm with you. I think we want the Dolphins to win. No, you said the Chargers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we want the Chargers to win just based off the fact we play the Dolphins,
Yes.
and so we kind of control our destiny in that regard. So I'm with you, but I do think the Dolphins are going to pull it out.
That week 18 game, I
I
like.
know, I know.
That's gonna be.
You know what it does? It gives me flashbacks of Fitzpatrick not sealing the deal
Oh,
against Buffalo.
absolutely, 100%, bro. Every opportunity to be there. All right, so we got through all of that, and we can get in the last few minutes that we have here, we'll get to the League Baum playoff chase.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna do only the three. I think we're gonna do the three matchups that actually matter for a playoff spot. Because let's be honest, the other two matchups don't really matter. My matchup against Natan, although I'm trying to win against Natan for the first times in the first time in 10 times I've played, we've matched up since 2007, 2018. I have not beaten him. Um, so we're gonna just go to the matchups that have playoff
Uh,
implications.
the 1, 4, and 2, 3 do have implications just in this regard.
Oh no,
That
I was gonna include those. I was
oh,
gonna
you're gonna include them. Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay,
These three matchups are what I was gonna do.
okay. Cool.
Not the 1 and 4. Um, Avi against Seth. I think Avi wins. I don't really need to go through that. But let's go to the 2-3 matchup, which is Avery John versus Filer. Milk and Cookies versus Some Herbs. We got Jalen Hurts, who I'm always rooting for because I have him in my other leagues and in best ball. Um, Jalen Hurts versus Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow in a very good spot against the Browns. Um, although he is 0-4 in his career and has not beat 0-5, 0 something against the Browns. He's winless against the Browns. That's what I should have just said that. In his career, Brandon Ayuk, Devontae Smith, and Joshua Palmer. A lot of wide receiver 2-3s right there.
Yeah.
But I could also see all of them having big games.
That's it.
George
Yeah, but
Pickens and
yeah.
George Pickens, Tyler Lockett, and Adam Thielen also can
Mm,
having big games. Pickens a lot less than the other five that I mentioned. I would probably give the edge as far as best player. It's Tyler Lockett, especially because he's scored a touchdown in the last 5 straight games, which is insane. And so I would probably give that edge to I don't even know. Who do you give the edge
I,
to? I don't even know.
I think it's a pick 'em. I think they're both
Yeah,
solid. They both have solid receivers, but like I don't think you could definitively say either way because like Thielen could have a good game. He could also do nothing.
right.
Lockett, is going to have a good game. I think Ayuk is going to get a couple catches. I mean, it's a little iffy with the new QB, but I still think he's going to have a good game. And then I think it's a pick 'em. I don't think there's.
Right.
I don't think you can pick one receiving core over the other. There's no one receiver that really sticks out on either team that you're like, oh yeah, that team is better.
Got you. Okay. Zeke versus Pollard. I think both of them have a good first half and then they're out. So I think this is a wash. Honestly.
Yeah,
Maybe Pollard more but like I could see them both doing whatever. Now the beat up Saquon versus the beat up Najee. I would give this to Saquon only because beat up Najee has been tough this year and not fun to watch. The Kansas City
I
defense is what were you gonna say?
I I would take Najee in that matchup
Oh,
just because of opportunity. I think Najee's gonna have a lot more opportunity because the game's gonna be closer. I don't think Barkley's gonna get the amount of volume you need from him to have a productive week just because I think they're gonna get down early and they're gonna have to pass the ball a ton. I think Najee's gonna be in it a lot. It's gonna be a close game where he's gonna have close to 20 carries. And I think he'll have a touchdown this week.
Mixon over ETN. That's tough. At both run defense, I hear it because the Tennessee run defense is stout. But Mixon coming off the concussion, the Cleveland run defense has been porous. I understand it, and I'm definitely going to take him over Jerry Judy. I think Jerry Judy is a very spotty start,
Yeah.
and especially in that offense. Although he does
Uh,
different option unless he goes Cam Akers. I mean, I might
I
probably go Cam Akers. I don't know.
I don't love the Etienne benching. I would put him in over Zeke.
You would put him in. Oh, I hear that actually. I would agree with you. Problem is,
Yeah,
yeah, it might be a half.
but that's what it is. That's exactly why
Right.
I put him in over Zeke because Zeke is not playing the full game. Houston is god awful. He'll play a half maybe, and he's splitting carries with Pollard.
Right.
ETN is the guy, and he's going to get touches. I put him in over Zeke easily. I think.
Right. I hear you. And I like Mike Williams being benched in this Kansas City defense over the Buffalo defense, in my opinion, because Denver's offense stinks. Let's give the W to Milk and Cookies, in my opinion.
I'm with you, and that is what I'm rooting for as well, just from a purely fantasy perspective.
Exactly. Let's get to your matchup because, in case we run out of time, I want to talk about your matchup first. Mahomes over Cousins. I think we can agree on that one.
We can agree on that.
Yes, I do like you having the Cousins Hawkinson stack. Um,
Yeah,
Hawkinson, I think, is going to have a good game, like we discussed. The problem is that he's starting Mark Andrew, Akiva Nyoni, CMC are starting Mark Andrews, which is a little bit of a tough one because, like we discussed, Tyler Huntley with him is definitely an upgrade for him. Derrick Henry versus Nick Chubb. I think that's actually a toss up because Derrick Henry hasn't been as up to par as we expect. Dalvin Cook versus Jamal Williams, also in the same matchup, which is cool. Um, I mean, you would think it would be Dalvin Cook, but Jamal Williams just can snip the end zone. I'm gonna give
yeah.
edge to you for Dalvin Cook, but like it's not a big edge. I wouldn't say it's a big edge at all. And here's where it's gonna be real fun: the wide receiver position. CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf versus Tyreek Hill, Michael Gallup, and well, really, DeAndre
It's
Hopkins,
hot.
but he's in
Yeah,
the flex because he's on Monday night. Um, I have to give the edge to you, but I love Metcalf and Lamb. Like like this is the best wide receiver matchup aside from Avi's team. Like you're gonna get in our league, and there could be easily 70 points in these like from these two wide receiver rooms.
100%. Yeah, we both have very good receivers. I don't know. I think it's also a toss up. I think that I don't know. I think I would give my
I
team a
give the
slight
edge to
edge.
you. I said I give the edge to you. And then you have Michael Gallup versus Juju. I mean, recent success, I would give it to Michael Gallup. They just might not have to throw the ball in that game, so that's where I like get it a little bit. It's a little bit tough. Now, here's where you're really screwed. He has the Dallas defense, and they're going to put up
Yeah,
a big number.
yeah, yeah.
That's where I'm
I,
going to have to give them the win because it's
I, I'm,
in the Dallas
I,
defense.
I'm with you, and putting the Jet defense in there is more a play for weeks to come as opposed to this week. Listen, we have a playoff spot
You have an
locked up.
empty bench spot.
We do, but there's no defenses that are really speaking to me, and
Baltimore? Oh, they might
mm,
be rostered. I don't know. It's tough.
we have to look again. But there's also we have to look again. But the Jet defense against Detroit, Jacksonville, and Seattle, 3 weeks of the playoffs, definitely going to keep them
No,
rostered. We'll see.
absolutely. I like that play for sure.
We'll see. And honestly, I don't think Buffalo's going to torch them. I think they'll have their sacks like they normally do. If they give us
Hmm.
5, we'll take it.
Absolutely. Definitely understand that. You're going to give yourself the win or
Yeah, I'll give myself the win. And
yeah,
listen,
love it. Love it,
I'll
man.
give
Let's
my
goes.
I'll give myself the win, and then Joey's team makes the playoffs off of that.
All right, and let's just blitz through it. Joey against Becker. We got Kyler Murray, AJ Brown, Mike Evans, who I would think you should try and bench. Gabriel Davis. Amon St. Brown is the best player in this. I mean, AJ Brown. The Brown. It's a battle of the Browns.
It is.
It's funny, but that stack with Goff and St. Brown, that's going to be tough. Debo is definitely someone you got to watch. Damian Pearson, James Conner versus Fournette and Knight. You're going to give the edge to Pearson Connor.
It's that's a rough looking RB stack right there.
Yeah, that's not like great because Pierce against Dallas and Connor against New England, like that's not great at all.
No,
But
no.
definitely have to give that edge to him. Maybe start Jeff